So when did you first spot this scam? I mean, it is a scam, isn't it?
It's a scam, yeah.
When did you sort of see it coming? When was the first moment where you thought, aye, aye?
Well, when I was director of energy research, because I was funding a lot of it, and so I would have people come into my office in Washington once a week and tell me about the research they were doing that we were supporting. I felt I ought to know how we were spending the taxpayers' money, and I had a big budget. It was $3.5 billion when $1 billion was worth a lot back then. It's still worth something. But most people were just delighted to come and tell a bureaucrat what they were doing. They were very surprised and flattered to be invited. But the exception was people in climate were always very defensive. Why do you want me to come to Washington? Well, we invite everybody to come to Washington to tell us about their research. And they would say, well, we work for Mr. Gore, and I would.
It was like that.
So that was when I began to realize that there's something funny about this area of science.
So it was kind of, it was sort of supposed to be off the books or semi off the books.
Yeah.
All right. And
they would eventually reluctantly come because I would have my chief of staff point out in the contract that if they didn't come when called, that their contract would not be renewed.
Right.
So that got their attention, and they would show up. But it would be very painful seminars, not like normal seminars, very like playing poker. Well, I'd ask them a question. Well, why are you asking the question? I say, always ask questions. That's the only way to learn. And well, one of them had the nerve to say, well, what answer would you like?
Right. So it was like a sort of a tutorial. I mean, I don't know what you call them in America, where you've got your students who are supposed to have done their homework and really have done a very poor job, and you...
That's right. And it just stood out so much from the other branches of science. People would come in and tell me, we were supporting the Human Genome Project, and they just couldn't wait to come to Washington and tell me about the latest gene sequencing machine and how well it was doing and how cheap it was, and just thrilled. And it would be the same with the high-energy physicists, how they were doing with the search for the top quark and how close they had come. And everyone else was so happy to come and talk about their work because they were pleased in what they were doing. They thought it was important, and so I wonder why don't the climate scientist people feel the same way?
Yeah. Did you ever get any sense of why Al got so behind this thing? I mean, do you think is it a cynical money-making scam? Is it political power grab, or does he believe it?
I've asked myself that question many times. I've met him once or twice, and I still don't know what the answer is. It's been very profitable for him, so he's a very wealthy man now.
Hugely profitable.
Yeah.
And had you got on the right side, or rather the wrong side, I mean, you joined Al, you'd probably be a lot richer now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've given up a lot to oppose it, yeah.